Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Smite World Championship 2016. We're going to get ready for our next matchup, Cloud9 versus QG Reapers. Of course, joining me is my partner in crime, Adonis, as well as the pride of Brazil, the ever-so-charismatic QE3Q. And, of course, he once played an extra in The Sopranos, the one and only Anatoly. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man.
Did you die in that episode?
Yeah, I did. I was just an extra, man. You know, like they couldn't handle me. So.
You could have been a star.
You could have been a star. You could have done big things. But you know what? Smite deserves you.
It's a good option.
It's a good fallback, you know? In any case, so guys, big thank you for joining us here. It's been a fun day so far. It's going to be our third series of the day. Of course, we have 4 matchups. We saw at the top of the broadcast there, OMG facing off, and unfortunately for them, losing their game against Paradigm. Paradigm moving forward to tomorrow. On the other side, you had Enemy facing off against Pain. Enemy moves on to face Paradigm tomorrow, but now it leaves us at our third matchup. The hometown heroes, as it was said before, the 2015 Smite World Championship team, Cloud9 versus QG Reapers, a squad that was the first seed coming out of China, or excuse me, second seed coming out of China, but first in our hearts, of course. And
there were Doja's dog last year.
There were Doja's dog. They were
back.
here as well. So I guess before the game starts, let's talk a bit about QG real fast. This team, you know, having a tough road here. They ended up defeating Avant-Garde, a squad that many felt were a formidable, you know, opponents with, you know, lots of experience and a great record, you know, in their region. But QG looked dominant in their game.
It's just that aggression factor coming out of QG and all of China. We saw it earlier with OMGB also taking a very early lead against Paradigm in Game 1, finding some nice kills and picks, and I expect QG Reapers to be the same thing. We're going to see a lot of early aggression against them. Unfortunately, though, they're running into Cloud9, who are very experienced in dealing with janky strats. We saw in the Super Regionals, facing off against Cognitive Gaming, who ran probably one of the most interesting strategies we've seen. They also played Anubis. They ran a Nemesis and a Guan Yu as well, and they like roll swapped them and went for early Gold Furies. They got like Hog 3 super early, so they have experience dealing with cheesy, janky, and very early aggressive strats, and I think Cloud9 is going to respond nicely.
Anatoly?
Yeah, they might get off guard depending on how QG Reaper starts off the game, similar to how OMGB started off the game against Paradigm. But I think that as the game progresses later on, I think that just Cloud9 is going to be able to win the team fights, get the objectives, and then just close the game out, depending on how the homework from QG Reapers will, depending on the early game, but I think Cloud9 definitely has it.
What about for you, QE?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good that QG, it's the first time that C9 is playing today, so they got to warm up in a little bit. But they really get really good stuff from the crowd, because the crowd just loves Cloud9.
Yeah.
And I think we all do.
Well, Cloud9's first in your hearts. Whoa, are you coming over to this side here?
Are you cheering on America?
I am.
Oh,
Ooh.
man, Ataraxia is left alone now.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, no, he can just go ahead and live in his, you know, hate box. Okay,
His second place at Worlds.
I mean,
your hate box.
He's
He's like seeding.
He's not even here to defend
I
himself,
know,
man.
that's why I got to take the best shots now, so I don't get anything in return.
So, okay, now, Cloud9, they had an interesting start to their run, but we'll talk about Cloud9 in a few. But I actually want to go ahead and intro you all, for those of you who are just joining us, to QG Reapers.
Shall go Reapers. Mikasa. Yuan. Night. MasterLu.
And there you have it, folks. QG Reapers. Knight getting a good cheer from the crowd. Everyone loves his unique play. Great player, you know, and definitely deserving to be here at the Smite World Championships. But now Cloud9, we got to get back to this this professed love that you have, QE3Q, about, you know, Cloud9, because what's going on here?
I mean, My team name was We Love Bacon back then, so I guess I'm half American, you know?
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Bacon is the way of life, buddy. Look at my gut, and I'll tell you exactly the way you got to live your life. It could lead to some heart problems down the line, but it's okay.
It's worth it.
Well worth the 30 years that you'll be alive. In any case, Anatoly, you have a lot of experience with Cloud9. This team, since 2015, you know, just continue to see their meteoric rise. Everyone loves them. I guess my question for you is, do you see Cloud9 dropping a game in this series?
In this series, no, not at all. They're too experienced. They've been around together for a while. You know, they made the roster change with Baskin replacing Omega, but honestly, that was a plug-in play. So he fills the same exact role, the same exact gods, and it's the same Cloud9 that we all know from before.
Do you see Cloud9 trying anything new, given the situation, or
Not in
they
this
respect their opponents, are going to play their game?
I think North America, you know, Cloud9's always been at the top of this roster, and they've always kind of played in their own refined meta. You never see anything crazy or innovative from them, not immediately at a tournament, right? Maybe over, you know, a couple months they'll throw in a couple picks here or there, but they play a very standard meta, and I expect all these players to play maybe just 2 or 3 gods throughout the tournament. Maybe andinster does something and expands it a little bit, but outside of that, it'll be pretty standard.
Yeah, C9 definitely leans on andinster a lot throughout every single play that they have in store, that they're just going to keep rolling off of any god that he goes. He's going to go off of the momentum that he does in the early game. Whether he plays off of Baskin or MLC stuff, we'll have to see their god compositions, but they definitely rely heavily on andinster.
I accept them to play their confident picks, especially in this matchup against QG Reapers. But later on in the tournament, maybe we'll see something new from Cloud9. I'm not sure.
All right, well, folks, let's introduce you all to Cloud9.
Cloud9, G2A. Baskin. Andinster. MLC Still. JeffHindla. BaRRaCCuDDa.
CUDDA Mania running wild in here, you know? CUDDA Mania.
There you go.
That's
Okay.
a good one.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
brother.
I think the I think the sex got more cheers than BaRRaCCuDDa there.
Look, we just need to take a moment to talk about the sexual beast known as JeffHindla.
man.
I mean, look at this man's beard.
He knows it's about him too. He's trying so hard to concentrate.
So I hit up my boy, you know, JJ, and I was like, hey, JJ, what do you think about including Jeff the Sex Hindla in episode 8? And he said, I would love to, but I'm not directing it. And I was like, you know, JJ, that's just a fault. You missed out on an opportunity. We get it. You know, Chewbacca's all lovable and stuff, but Jeff the Sex Hindla, I mean, come on, look at this man. Look at this man. He puts Daniel Bryan's beard to shame.
I rubbed it yesterday for good luck. Like I just needed success at the analyst desk in my predictions, so I rubbed it. So far, 2 for 0 in predictions.
Yeah, actually, you also got to rub the beard as well.
I did.
It's a majestic thing, isn't it?
It's to get luck, you know?
Did it give you powers?
It does.
It does. Yes, confirmed.
He's gonna start to float off the analyst desk.
A little bit of just curious sends, and then you know, a hair just grows from his beard. Oh man, Anatoly, I mean, this must sting for you because you're an American player and everyone loves the sex. What's going on here?
Hey, I mean, I actually got a chance to spend a night in Atlanta one time with him.
Well, this is getting weird.
Yeah, I mean, behind closed doors, when you're with the sex, anything goes.
Oh, hi, Dios mío. Hi.
This
My
is an
God.
English cast.
I know this is, but sometimes, you know, you just got to bust out the broken Spanish. My goodness gracious. In any case, all right, people. So we've had quite the day so far here for day number 2, but day 1 actually saw some awesome matchups, most notably the enemy Fnatic matchup. But before we get into the game, let's recap day 1.
Here we are, live on the stage at Smite World Championship, Day 2, match number 3. I have a sneaking suspicion that you guys are pretty excited about this one. Now, come on, guys. You've been making a lot of noise. I feel like this is kind of your middle motor. I feel like you can do better. Are you really excited to see this match go down? I know you're going to show some serious love here. Knight, how are you feeling? How's your team doing?
We will win for China.
Win for China! Guys, show some love. Come on. Now on this side, a man who needs no introduction, but I'll do it anyway. Andy, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Easy game, easy life.
All right, guys, few words. I can understand that. There's a lot riding on the line. I'm going to ask you to shake hands, gentlemen. The best of luck to you both. Back to your teams. Guys, come on. Are you ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, please, you've come all this way. You've made your way to sitting in these chairs watching us. This is your moment. Show some love. I do and think we are ready to go into this. Guys, are you all ready to see Cloud9 play? Picks and bans.
All right, folks, here we go. Time for the picks and bans for Cloud9 and QG Reapers. Game number 1 in our third matchup of the day. Okay, he's happy. We get it. He's really happy. Just giddy with excitement here.
Stealth is always the happiest on his team, I think. And andinster throwing out some words, some shots there.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
tonight.
You just got to, it's for the highlight reel, you know, at the end of the day.
He's got to have a,
Because Knight's had way too many. Knight has just been on the money every single time he's spoken. So here we go with the Zeus ban. Smart to get rid of Zeus for QG because they do enjoy using that god. And Soul on the other side for QG to Cloud9.
I like the Zeus span away from Knight. He's been, you know, one of the strongest members on QG Reaper, so taking away a comfort pick and honestly one of the best mages in the game right now is a smart look. Sobek ban, I'm a little bit surprised at from Cloud9. Maybe just something they don't want to deal with.
They're leaving Xing and Bellona open here. They're expecting a Xing ban. They're probably going to pick up Bellona. Sobek is a good counter to Bellona in the solo lane, so that's the thought process behind that.
Well, Giannis gets through as well, so that means Bellona and Xing, and as quick as I said it, couldn't even finish my sentence, Xing is locked in already. I think this will be the first time we see Xing played, or in a while, I would say. First time in a while.
Yeah, it's been banned for most of today. People just don't want to deal with it. And immediately, QG Reapers, they know they're going to be, that's going to be the matchup in the solo lane. It's the one we're going to be seeing all week until Bellona and Xing both start getting banned. Bellona expected to have the early game here, and it looks like QG Reapers, they're going to go for their aggression again. Neith locked in for the Hunter.
Yeah, so Bellona's going to be able to control the early laning phase, but as soon as team fights go around, Xing definitely going to make a bigger impact.
Oh.
A Moose and Cobb being highlighted.
He's trolling. He's not going to.
He might actually lock this in.
There's a high chance he locks it in.
Okay. Look at BaRRa's face. He wanted to play Moose and Cobb. He still could.
So troll. So troll.
What
I mean,
safe to play AMC anymore, QE?
You have Neith, so I mean, actually Neith is in the same lane, so it's basically you can pick Muzinka because there's still Thor in the table. There's so many global ultis on the table, so it's hard.
Get dove too easily. Very defensive.
And Thor is a little bit better than Muzinka.
Surely Knight is trolling here.
No, this is Knight. He's the one who actually plays Anubis.
Yeah, but like we saw what happened with Anubis, and I expected that. Like you just don't risk it. You know, you want to give Cloud. I know that Anubis is great for Knight, but you want to give Cloud9 your best, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also taking away Nuwa from MLC Stealth. That's one of his go-to gods as well, so that's a good strategy coming out of QG Reapers.
Banning phase here. QG might target a Hunter they don't want to deal with, considering they have Neith locked on the board, and yeah, they don't want to give BaRRaCCuDDa Hou Yi. Hou Yi we actually haven't seen too often. I think we've only seen him once so far this tournament. Hasn't made a big impact, but probably a matchup that they don't want to deal with. MasterLu doesn't want to fight.
There are a lot of options for Hunter right now, I would say, for Cloud9.
Chiron's still open.
What was that?
Chiron's still open. I want to see Chiron again.
Yeah, Chiron. Yeah, you could realistically see Chiron.
That'd be a very tanky, sustain-oriented comp too. Chiron very hard to lock down. His ult giving him death immunity, potential to revive if you kill someone while he's in there.
Especially with the Khepri support, yeah.
Okay, and Athena taking a seat, gets banned here. And over to QG Reapers.
I almost would have liked to, I mean, obviously I don't want to deal with Athena, but I almost would have liked to see a Thanatos ban, considering that we know QG will run that, especially against a Khepri, can go through the execute, but it looks like they're highlighting Naja. And
Naja locked in.
This could be support. This is not 100% jungle. They ran Naja support in the Chinese regional finals.
Speaking of Naja, if this is jungle, that 2v2 matchup between Bellona and Naja is a little bit stronger than the Thor Xing. So there could be a potential invade coming out of QG Reapers as Chiron does get locked in there for
You're so
BaRRaCCuDDa.
happy, yeah.
You're so happy, QE. It's disgusting how happy.
You know what he'd be really happy about? If Chiron and Agni were both picked up by Cloud9.
It'd be the best
Same
team
time.
ever.
Yeah, well, still hope is there? No, maybe, probably not.
Poseidon, though. Poseidon is actually my most second play guy.
And Poseidon locked in there, so that is going to be very interesting.
The wombo combo between Thor and Poseidon just works so well together, the synergy that they provide. So Andister's going to set up MLC for a lot of easy Kraken kills.
I expect to see a lot of stealth and andinster synergy. That's, you know, Andy can't stealth. That's what, you know, this team has been known for a long time. And he started camping Baskin a little bit when he first joined the team, but Baskin, he can hold his own now. There's going to be a lot of focus on that jungle mid synergy.
Cloud9 usually looks to fight at mid camps with Jeff, Andy, and stuff. They really have a really good synergy.
So this final pick will basically tell you where that Naja is going to go.
Is it going to be support or is it going to be jungle? And it's going to be support. That's Thanatos jungle. And that Thanatos will be able to execute through Khepri.
And it's locked in. All right, folks. Lightning round predictions. Go.
C9.
Cloud9.
C9.
All right. Well, the analysts have spoken. It is now time for Cloud9 and QG Reapers to take the stage here at the Smite World Championships quarterfinals. It's time to go ahead, toss it over to our casters.
Thanks a lot, Golden Boy and crew. Fantastic pick, Bandface. I mean, right away, we're taking a look at a Thanatos in the jungle and a Naja support. I mean, what do you want to see?
Hold up. Let's find out when we get in game, because that could be Thanatos support as well, Naja jungle.
I mean, Rafford did it once way back when.
It could be. I'm just saying, it could possibly be.
All right, so Zapman, you flirted with the jungle a little bit. I know you like Naja. Talk to me about the pluses, less so the minuses. Talk to me about the pluses of what Naja brings to the table.
Yeah, what Naja brings to the table is the fear factor. If you get too close to Naja, she has the potential to ultimate you, which brings you up to the sky, does a lot of damage to you. And when you land, it basically sets you up for all the damage from the enemy team. So it's high risk, high reward, because you've also missed the Naja.
Sorry, I was going to say good matchup against Thor as well.
Yeah, it's pretty decent against her.
Because
he could stun out the spin.
Exactly, and one of the things that I like about Thanatos in that regard is looked at as the anti-Thor. The Berserker's Barrage, well, there's a silence for that. Thor goes up, so can Thanatos. So Thanatos in the jungle is going to do a good job at following around the Thor as well, but more importantly, there's a Khepri. Tell me about the interaction between Khepri and Thanatos.
Well, the Khepri and Thanatos interaction, obviously you can execute through the blessing, the Scarab's blessing that you can put on with his ultimate, so you can still find the kills. What I'm looking for, though, is the fact that there's very safe lanes from Cloud9. I expect them to look for the Neith all the time. That's going to be the real pick they're going to have to go for here.
Yeah, I was curious to see if Cloud9 was going to bring out any experimental picks here against the Chinese team, but they really went for a standard Cloud9 comp. They love to have an aggressive support. That's why they banned out the Sobek. Sobek's one of their favorite picks from personal experience. I know they love that. They like the kill potential that Khepri brings, and also they banned out the Athena, which is another aggressive support in lane.
I think these comps on paper, overall, I think both teams are quite happy with what they drafted. They drafted comfort for the most part. Even Stealth going for the Poseidon, very, very comfortable god for him. Nothing too extravagant or crazy.
Yeah, that was a very interesting pick. Hitman and I sort of looked at each other, hey, why Poseidon? And that man said something, but I wasn't really listening. I'll listen this time. Why Poseidon here?
Well, both us and Cloud9, we have a lot of experience together, and a lot of the time run Naja Poseidon, and the other pick to it is Thor Poseidon. And he's a lot more comfortable with Thor over the Naja. But they both do the same thing. Thor lands from the sky, guarantees the Poseidon, pull Kraken, and look for them to be aggressive at the mid Harpies when no one has actives yet.
Don't forget, though, as well, that these guys have been waiting all week for this game.
Right.
Cloud9's first game is today. They had to sit and watch Paradigm. They saw everybody play yesterday, and now this is finally their moment. The first game for Paradigm today, a little bit shaky. I expect Paradigm, sorry, I think Cloud9 is going to go for comfortable, get themselves set up, get themselves in the zone, and then game 2, probably turn it up.
One of the things that I was looking at specifically as well was for on the side of ChowGu was the Thanatos pick. It came out after the Poseidon. One of the big things that Thanatos brings to the table is using that ultimate early in the game, not for the execute, but for the setup. Well, when you do that to Poseidon, the results can be bad for the Thanatos.
Yeah, Poseidon is kind of like Zeus. If you don't kill him right away, he has 100-0 turnaround potential. So they have to be very careful how Thanatos uses his ultimate to engage on the Poseidon.
Yeah, if Thanatos lands down and Poseidon lasts throughout that stun, there's a Kraken right underneath the Thanatos, where he doesn't want. So mid lane, if they are going to look at that Poseidon, it's going to have to be absolute just domination, very quick on the money for that. Taking a look towards the solo lane, it's pretty standard, honestly. Xing versus Bellona.
Well, hopefully. You know, I mean, I don't know where Nija's going. I don't know where Thanatos is going yet, so we can't say where we know where Bellona is going.
That's true. There's a lot of ambiguity on the side of the Chinese squad, which can actually be a very good thing. That said, if Cloud9 has done their homework, they can tell that the Chinese final regionals, we saw the support Naja. So we have a little bit of insight because we sat there and watched the games. Does Cloud9? That's the real question.
Yeah, but the one thing that Cloud9 is looking at with the draft is that the Chinese team picked 4 physical characters. So all they have to do is basically itemize for physical defense, and that is the type of defensive items that you want to get.
And QG, the biggest issue they have is their individual skill is very, very strong, but their team fights is where they kind of let themselves go. They're not very good at objective fight focus after they actually win a fight. Cloud9, on the other hand, they will abuse every single second they can of putting the pressure on them.
One of the big things about the whole situation, though, that you really have to think about is the idea of a LAN meta. We really dove deep into this during the Super Regionals, which was almost a week-long tournament, right? And the LAN meta that's going to come out is really the big thing that we noticed about the Chinese teams is their reluctance to go for the objectives early on. They like to be very, very safe. What we saw earlier today, OMG already made that adjustment. Yesterday, almost no objectives. Today, we saw OMG go for the early Gold Fury. Do you think ChowGu has made the same adjustments that OMG had?
I mean, I hope they do. They need to be taking these Gold Furies. They need to protect the Gold Furies. They need to be able to sneak them to even have a chance against Cloud9.
Big difference is LAN meta is still early days right now. Day 1, no one's going to really show too much. We've seen the same sort of picks and bans. We said this earlier on. Day 2, where we are now, we may start to see 1 or 2 things. I don't think we'll see much out of Cloud9 that's special today, but I tell you what, the game 4 today is when we will start seeing things, because that one is not clear cut.
That's very true. Touching back on that LAN meta, so much ISIS today. I tweeted out earlier, I was surprised that we saw so much ISIS. She's very strong, but not as much Giannis, etc., that I would have expected to see. In this game specifically, we don't see the ISIS. So on the side of QG, it's going to be a very curious situation to see how that mid lane goes. But again, that Khepri pick. Let's talk about that dual lane one more time. Zatman, I'm going to touch on you for the ADC knowledge, or the hunter knowledge, rather. Talk to me about which team you think is going to be able to put on the early pressure in the long lane.
It's pretty much a rule of thumb for all dual lanes. If whichever dual lane has the Khepri, has the pressure. And on top of that, they have Chiron, which has great clear, great sustain on top of the Khepri passive with the shield. They're an unkillable lane.
However, though, you say unkillable, but if it is Nisha and Neith in the same lane, their wave clear is quite strong, and they do have kill potential as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen the Naja Neith lane before. I've never really faced against it, so I'm actually really excited to see what happens.
You don't play ranked? No one plays support. They're just like, I'll play Nisha.
I mean, the Naja support is something that we have. It's not completely unheard of. As we said, the Chinese played it during their regionals, but even in North America, shouts to Aurora, who's not on the stage right now. He's been casting along with us. He's known for these aggressive sort of assassin supports. Naja's seen their time in the sun, and Ionic, the support player for what used to be Team Solo Mid, he actually has brought out the Naja in a couple of regular season games and even LAN games. So, I mean, Naja in that support role, there's a couple of things he does. He's got a slow, he's got a sash. Use your imagination and tell me where you expect to see this Naja support, if it is support, make an impact.
I expect to see the Naja support coupled with the Neith help the Thanatos gank that duo lane. Really just set it up, guarantee the Thanatos size, guarantee the Thanatos ultimate, and hopefully executes. And I expect to see a lot of action in the duo lane.
Yeah, there's a hand-in-hand combination with what goes up. When Naja goes up and comes down, sometimes the character lives with a sliver of HP. who's great at killing things with a sliver of HP, it's Thanatos.
And I agree with that, man, because over on the duo side, we're also going to see what Cloud9 are going to do. Andy's probably going to come and babysit that lane. Not because he has to, it's just that solo lane's going to be very, very hard to kill. Middle lane's going to be very hard to kill, but there is a Neith there, and Zapman's been talking about how good Thor is against Neith. Gank the Neith.
Well, we're finally going to go ahead and think about getting into game, but the last thing that I wanted to touch upon before we actually jump onto the battlefield is the idea of warm-up or whatnot. QG played yesterday. They went out and they got their practice almost. As we said, they've made adjustments thus far. Cloud9, this is their first game. You've played in this situation before. How does that impact? Is it a positive that Cloud9 maybe have got more rest, or is that a negative that they might not be so hot?
It's definitely a negative. I mean, you want to get those kind of warm-up games in. You want to get the feel for the stage, get the feel for the crowd. No matter how much of a veteran you may think you are, you do get nervous at the beginning of every LAN.
It's true.
And, you know, you want to find your bearings, feel, you know, get comfortable with the mouse and the surface and all that. And every time I've seen a Chinese team play another game, they seem more and more comfortable, and it looks like they make more and more plays.
One thing, though, that China haven't had to deal with yet, and nobody's had to deal with yet, is the crowd.
That is true.
And the crowd, I'm pretty sure he's on Cloud9's side. It sounds that way anyway for most of the day.
You know what?
I mean, I wasn't even trying to get him to do that, but like that was a light one from what we heard earlier.
Been pretty active, but I do got to give a lot of credit. I love the amount of love that has been shown to QG, specifically Knight, If, and MasterLu. Towards the end of those introductions, I think we've got some fans of the Chinese squads in here as well. So there's a lot of Cloud9 fans going on, but I think we've got more of an even arena than we might have thought.
I mean, honest, Knight turned around and said, you know, he's going to win for China, and I guarantee you Europe will be very, very happy if he won for them too.
Well, maybe right now we're going to see if Knight's words ring true, and if he will bring the win home for China, or, as if andinster said, easy game, easy life.
Beginning of this one, let's exactly see what's going to happen. I wonder if we're going to see an invade out of this composition. It's going to be Bellona and the Thanatos in the jungle here. Will they like to invade the Xing and Thor? Zap, do you expect this out of them?
I mean, they could. One of the biggest weaknesses of Xing is his level 1, right? And you want to make Xing feel as uncomfortable as possible. Don't allow him to get out of the laning phase, even with the Bellona.
And I think that's what we saw yesterday, is a lot of focus onto the Xing solo lanes, potentially to try and like delay him on getting going at the beginning of the game. Cloud9, though, they seem to expect some mischief from QG here, so they're playing this very, very defensively.
Yeah, Cloud9 just staying around in the mid lane and doing what they can to stay safe. They absolutely don't want to even give QG a thought of how aggressive they might be.
Yeah, really interesting build coming out right away from the Nuwa, going Traveler's shoes right off the bat.
Well, this was the thing that QG did, and I was a bit unusual about what was actually going to happen with this. But he's looking for the extra mobility to stay safer. At the same time, he's got the gold online as well, what he's going to get from it. I don't know if he's going to work out that well, Zub. Do you feel it?
I mean, it's a pretty decent pickup for Nuwa. She doesn't have a built-in escape, so he wants to be able to stay away from andinster's Thor.
Right away, something different. We're seeing Cloud9 do the 1, 2, 3 back camps the whole left side of the jungle.
Well, they're doing that on the right as well. And look at the right-hand side right now. They did back camps expecting to get invaded, and that's exactly what happened from QG.
Thanatos comes on side. I mean, Thanatos, Bellona, this is a strong composition to go ahead and invade. Xing and Thor, they're strong as well. Do they take this fight?
Yeah, I mean, they could take the fight, but I want to touch upon why Cloud9 went for back harbor ships, right? They saw that they went, QG went 4 physical gods, very dominant at level 1, so they expected to get invaded. And one way to combat the invade is to get what you can while you can. So back harbors are relatively free for Cloud9.
Well, they gave up those some minions there to go aggressive in the jungle with the rotation from Stealth from mid. And Stealth picks up first blood for Cloud9. NA on the board. Where was the call from QG's mid laner?
Yeah, just a lack of communication, and QG just stayed a little bit too long. Right now, BaRRaCCuDDa might get in some trouble, but turns it around. If now a couple of basics, BaRRaCCuDDa, that's the second kill on the board. Cloud9 looking very strong here.
Putting more pressure onto Neith, underneath now, under the tower. General poke coming down here, but you spoke about this earlier on, Zap, is the strength of a Chiron at level 2.
Yeah, this is what Cloud9 is their bread and butter. They love the Sobek pick. If they don't get Sobek 9 times out of 10, they pick the Khepri.
Well, look at this, they're going aggressive onto Neith as well. The backflip got cancelled, and they're just waiting for it to land.
BaRRaCCuDDa, 2 kills already, 2 kills before 2 minutes. BaRRaCCuDDa knows what he's doing, and on the other side of the map, Cloud9 getting aggressive. 3 players in the opponent's jungle before the 2nd minute. Baskin's taking some poke here. Cloud9 on the retreat. Baskin gets whipped. Oh, he's stuck. Beautiful whirlpool by MLC Stealth.
And they can turn it.
The space and create the kill. Andy on the board.
Double tap comes out too. Looks like we will see Stealth get another kill as well. The boys of QG are in trouble early. Thanatos is only level 2.
5 kills, 2 minutes. Wow.
And that little skirmish right there is one of the biggest strengths that Cloud9 have. They kind of bait you in. QG thought that they could kill the Xing 10, but andinster and Cloud9, when they were just baiting for Thor's abilities to come back up.
And
when they did,
they as well with the whirlpool. Like once that whirlpool got dropped, he got isolated from the rest of the team.
One of the things that you really don't think about in Poseidon that often is how utilitarian he can be. That whirlpool, sure, it did damage, but more importantly, it zoned out the rest of QG. The reason that kill happened over there on the right-hand side, there was 3 members of QG. That whirlpool created 2 and 1. The separation, you're all by yourself. You never want to be by yourself in Smite.
This game goes all the way back to the beginning, though. The invade from QG did not work out well. They pushed the lane, went to invade, but there was no call from Neith in the mid lane about the rotation from Stealth. That put Thanatos behind, so they could invade on the jungle that was all still available.
And that's one of the strengths of the Poseidon pick. He's one of the best clears right behind Isis, so he was able to clear the wave over the Nuwa and then go help his solo.
And his mobility, pretty good as well for the most part, Poseidon. I mean, obviously, do you remember the days when he used to have that trident, even stronger than it was? His rotations were so much quicker. Still up there, though, with the best of them.
What an exciting game. I mean, it's 3 minutes in, and you could, we've had more fights in the jungle than the actual lanes.
They're not called the world champions for nothing, right? There's a good reason they're here as world champions, defending once again, and already they're starting to put a beating down on the Chinese team.
And here's the thing, QG drafted a lineup. They've got a Thanatos, they've got a Naja, they've got a Neith. They drafted this high-tempo, early-game lineup, and Cloud9's job was to sort of mitigate it. Well, you know what they said? They're confident enough. We're not just going to mitigate it. We're going to play your game. You know what we're going to do? We're going to get your early characters, and that's what's allowed Cloud9 to get ahead already. 2,000
under the tower. Stealth is under pressure here. Ultimate is up, and Andy's in the sky waiting. The support from JeffHindla is here. The abduct is good, and Andy gets one. Stealth gets another, and Thanatos is like, well, sorry guys, bye.
Yeah, I mean that was the bread and butter of the QG lineup. Naja in the air, but the problem was Thanatos wasn't level 5 yet, so they had no kill potential off to Naja at all.
Yeah, one of the big things that you see Naja with when Naja's in the jungle at the very least is the combination of, well, usually a Poseidon, somebody that, what goes up must come down, and when it comes down, we're going to have you fall into a crater. Well, with Poseidon on the side of Cloud9, Nuwa doesn't have that real synergy with the Naja like some of the other burst mages. So because of that, we saw one of the problems. Naja's target comes down and still stays alive.
Talk about problems. 2 men of Cloud9 are just sieging up the red buff. They know it's being done here. They're trying to find a pick. And it's on Thanatos. He's going to fall down here very soon. Andy gets the kill. And now rotation from BaRRaCCuDDa and the rest of Cloud9. And QG have to back out their own jungle. But luckily, the buff is down.
MasterLu jumps over the wall fantastically. Chiron looking for the shots, unable to secure it. BaRRaCCuDDa's rotation there was very important. So he goes ahead and he makes the rotation over here, does what he can. But really, it's less about trying to get those kills up and talk to me. It's more about preventing QG from joining that fight that was in the middle.
This is the thing what C9 is doing. They're playing perfectly from ahead. They got the lead. They don't want QG to allow them even an ounce or an inch at all this game. They're invading every single buff. They know the timers and expect Cloud9 to spend 100% of their time in QG's jungle.
Well, they want the back harpies here right now. They're even going to steal those away as well. This is just rough.
I mean, Cloud9 right now, this is the perfect game that they're having. If you take a look at the slash lines, obviously there's zeros in the death column as QG has yet to hit it. But you look at Xing and Khepri have nothing but assists. In fact, they combined for all 8 assists on the board. And the rest, the other 3 carries, they've got 3 kills apiece plus a couple of assists.
Andy's just roaming around the jungle now like this is a ranked game, trying to put the pressure on even further. Forcing the ult out of the new one. Mikasa's rotated all the way over from solo. He's going to lose a whole wave of experience there for this rotation to try and support the rest of his team.
Xing honestly didn't even have to rotate. He started to rotate. Baskin thought, you know what, my team can 4v5 them. I'll just wait here for the mid camps and then make my way back to lane.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much a free rotation for Xing 10. He was able to push the lane because Bellona rotated early, and he's getting mid harpies.
And now this moment in time, well, the best thing is they've got Khepri and Xing still.
Yeah.
We saw this earlier on day one. And when those two combine late game with the cooldown reduction and the tankiness they can bring out, it's basically 2 Xing. You can't kill him once, and then if you do, well, Khepri's going to revive him. There's still a chance with Thanatos, even if he's only level 5 by that point, he can still execute if they can get him low enough in the first place, but it's just not that easy.
Yeah, Thanatos is in a tough situation. One of the things that Thanatos, one of the downsides about Thanatos is, I don't think he falls off like many people think, but the problem is if he doesn't get started, he just never does much of anything.
Aggression. It looks like we're going to see Neith picked off here. She's trying to look for a backflip at some point. Instead, the wall, and BaRRa will get the kill before he can even get away. There was a 4-man army against 1.
I mean, there just was nothing going on in the left-hand lane. And as I was saying, Thor, if Thor falls behind, which he's certainly not, he can be CC. But if he gets ahead, he can be damaged. Beautiful dodge by the juggler.
It was nice to hug the wall there. He's going to dunk in on Jeff for a bit of pressure. But Andy's still here. Low on mana here, so a little bit overextended to the boys right now. It looks like If wants to try and make something happen with Najjar, but it's just not here. BaRRaCCuDDa making the rotation to mid as well.
Dangerous entryway. That little corridor could be very dangerous to aggress onto a new Wa there with the exploding minions. So BaRRa just shows his face and then slinks back onto those Harpies.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9's doing great rotations. The solo lane and their Hunter are both rotating on mid-Harpy timer, which is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at builds right now, and I think I'm going to see Shuza focus on 3 members and Breastplate of Valor on 3 members of Cloud9. Full cooldown reduction, we all know about it, but also we mentioned earlier on 4 physical gods on the side of QG. Breastplate of Valor is a great item against that lineup.
Exactly. The full CDR is no surprise to see on the Xing or the Khepri.
Pull the Poseidon.
Well, that's what I was about to touch on. The Poseidon, yes, I like more Krakens than not, but Poseidon is usually thought of as this burst character, get all this damage. What does the full CDR do for Poseidon?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think, oh, you got to one-shot someone. I have a Kraken that does 600 damage. I need to build damage, but that's not true because if you're dead, you're not doing any damage. So what you want to do is you want to build that HP, survive in the fights longer, and the more cooldowns you get off, you get a lot more damage.
Hold up, because you just turned around, right, and said you want to build defense to survive. I don't see you build defense. I don't even see you build actives.
I'm a hunter. I mean, we don't build defense.
Are you an excuse? Is that what it is? Even BaRRa's got actives, see?
Yeah, that's unusual.
One of the biggest things that I like to watch about this Cloud9 squad is the growth specifically. Once upon a time, andinster, believe it or not, who's pretty much running this game, it's called landinster. He was nervous. He couldn't really make this happen. And you look at this, he's tenured. He's a veteran now. We've learned, and this is a completely different Andy than we've seen even last year.
Tenured. He's trying to get the purple buff 4v1. Meanwhile, Baskin gets a kill in the solo lane, and he's in a bit of trouble there, but he should be able to ult out of danger. That was 4 members of QG to defend the purple. Is Thanatos going to chase this is the question.
Yeah, he looked like he wanted to follow, decided to go right onto stealth. Chunks him down to about 75% HP, but stealth is fine. There's really not much of a threat. Level 10 versus level 7, Thanatos got
to touch on andinster, I love the way he plays.
Oh, BaRRa, okay. A little bit too much here. Uses the ult early. Luckily, though, his boy Jeff is here. Jeff does not have his ult available. Ooh. Now there's a chance for a kill for QG.
China's on the board. MasterLu with the hit over the wall. QG Reapers. Finally, 10 minutes in. Find their kill.
Stealth was looking for something there as well, trying to swing around the back, but they will get a consolation prize, the red buff there. Cloud9 after BaRRaCCuDDa falling down. That was just BaRRa being a little bit too aggressive, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a hunter, when you get that lead and he just finished his soul leader, you kind of feel unkillable.
Well, not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite at all. BaRRaCCuDDa, the lone death on Cloud9 right now as we hit the 10-minute mark. This game, well, Cloud9 significantly in the lead, but it's 3,000 gold. It's so interesting to see. This Cloud9 team has been absolutely dominant, but 3,000 gold is definitely a hole you can climb out of.
I mean, the real snowball here is the experience. You're up 5,000 experience, and what matters in the early game is not the items, it's the levels and the scaling you get from the levels.
Oh, wow, Bellona went in? Alone?
Just a little bit. No, and the momentum. You talked to me a little bit off camera about how important momentum is in esports and everything. And even Incon was mentioning it on the right here. So QG, they're down 3,000 gold. They're down a bunch of experience, but they're also down this sort of intangible momentum.
Exactly. The kind of mentality QG has right now is they can't fight C9 no matter where they are. Where it may or may not be true, but that's the mentality they're going to have right now.
The best thing they can do from this is learn the mistakes they made. They make big compositions here that showed so much aggression. They showed that they were probably going to invade. Cloud9 were aware of it, and they've been punished heavily for it now.
Not just building into attack speed.
She goes for, I've seen it
It's
go
going
for
to be a
wing
wing
blade.
blade. It's going to be a wing blade. The HP and the CDR is very good for an aggressive support like that.
It will help him out, especially with mobility. Imagine if you get hit in the whirlpool, you can get the mobility from that as well. Today.
Extremely strong against Poseidon whirlpools, exactly.
We'll take a look at Thanatos here. And again, I'm looking at this character so much because this Thanatos, if he can't get off and running, it's just not going to be able to do much of anything. But what you're really looking for, he has to be an ult bot, similar to a Hun Bats, but instead of being a team-oriented distraction, he's a single target, get rid of Khepri ult debuff, right? So, I mean, is that going to be enough for this squad, or is QG just working 4v5?
Yeah, right now it's kind of dire for the Thanatos. He really is a god that's very early dominant. If he doesn't get that early dominance off, he falls incredibly behind. And not only that, his scythe is actually very hard to hit. And if he keeps on not hitting it with the levels that he is behind, he's just going to be useless all game.
Well, riding along with JeffHindla now, just roaming the jungle, warding up, trying to find opportunities if he can. And Andis is there too, just going to clear the path. They're going to be looking for the Gold Fury soon. But what they've done so far after is just focus the buffs time and time again.
Yeah, and right now, just QG can't get anything. And again, that's just keeping the experience and the gold off of the map, stripping the jungle buffs, and just creating this buffer so that QG, even if they want to think about contesting this Gold Fury, it's going to be trouble. Thanatos has yet to go in the air. Mikasa's trying to flank. Cloud9 comes completely off of the objective, but a good Thor wall prevents them from going
They want to fight. Cloud9
We got to
want to
talk
fight.
to Andy about that one.
Cloud9 just want to fight here. They're trying to find more kills and then get the Gold Fury after it as well. Mikasa's the only one that can really go in, but he's going to be squishy up against Chiron BaRRaCCuDDa. He's only got magical defense at the moment. Left-hand side, if he's in trouble on that Najjar, and he's going to go up to the sky to defend himself for the time being. But when he lands, there's people waiting, and he will fall.
Well, that's one kill for Thanatos as well. 2 on the side of QG, but the Gold Fury falls away of Cloud9, continuing their push towards the win. Thanatos in the air, looking for MLC, lands, hits the basic, but the big damage has been done despite the Aegis. MasterLu gets the kill.
MasterLu gets a coup, and Mikasa still trying to put the pressure onto Baskin and JeffHindla here. But it's not going to be a good situation for him because he's going to turn it around. Big spin, nice win. Baskin finds the kill on the jungler, and now Lu will fall as well.
Yeah, MasterLu surrounded by 3, nowhere to go. Baskin gets the double.
I mean, this is just the power of the solo laner coming into the mid game when it's still the early game.
Exactly.
He's in mid game form during the early game. No one can kill him. No one can do any damage to him, and you can see how much he can provide in team.
And when you talk about what he can do, he just went back to base after already having core items for what we want to say Xing 10 and got mid Guardian Mail.
Against 4 physical, he's going to take 0 damage.
I mean, not just physical, but basic attackers, right? Thanatos is ability-based, but he has to weave those basics. Bellona is all about the basic attacks. Neith, I mean, she's a hunter. And then Najjar is ability-based, but that Flaming Spear late game, that's what makes Najjar deadly during the late game. Well, that mid Guardian Mail, 1 hit, and you're going to be slowed. So you got to watch out for that if you're a basic attack hero.
Thanatos has rotated over to the right to try and support Bellona for the blue buff here, but Baskin is just roaming around the enemy jungle now. Look at him, he's between blue and speed, but for the backside there, he's been spotted, but he's not going to be scared right now with that itemization.
No, I mean, he could just do anything he wants. His main goal right now is to cause a lot of havoc in the QG comms. They're going to say, Xing 10 is over here, he's invading, while Cloud9 can just do whatever they want on the other side of the map.
About Cloud9 doing whatever they want, they're going aggressive once again, trying to contest the speed, but against 4 members, they've changed their mind now. Stealth, though, might be able to catch somebody on the rotation back to mid.
Drops the whirlpool. Just going to send if he'll think about it and then walk right on through. Not really a problem. But again, what does it do? It opens up space for Cloud9 to go ahead and do more of what they've been doing the entire game, stripping away the jungle.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough situation for Cloud9 to be in because there's nothing really to do on the map. All the buffs are gone. The Gold Fury is gone. It's so early in the game that it's very risky to go for Fire Giant. So here, all they can do is look for picks.
I mean, to be fair, Baskin could just go AFK for a while soon. He's level 17, right?
Yeah,
I mean, once he hits 20, it's like, well, I guess we'll just wait for late game. Mikasa under pressure. Good Eagles rally away, though. Away from the danger, but Baskin,
Look at Baskin.
He's dominating this lane now.
He's not taunting, but that back right in front of the tower might as well be a taunt.
You know, I talked to Mega a lot. A lot of the solo matchup is mental, half mental. And just backing in front of Mikasa is just asserting dominance and telling him that he's not afraid.
Andy showing he's not afraid either. Going aggressive against 2. Once again, takes
right
this guy.
down.
If took a lot of pressure there. The dunk's going to land. Good beats from If, but he still will fall down to andinster. Cracking in mid lane from Stealth. Does not connect, however. Knight juking that one out just in time.
MLC now going to look for the damage with the whirlpool and the basics. Hurt him a little bit, but Knight will be all right. Thanatos coming up the middle lane as well. Only level 11 here, trailing Andy by about 2. Beautiful hit.
I missed
and
the double.
Combined, couple of more basics. MasterLu got nowhere to go. There's the help from JeffHindla.
Good
But a
weave.
good hit from MasterLu saves the life of the Hunter.
Unravel was good, and JeffHindla doing the body blocking was fantastic. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Stealth did fall down there as well to Thanatos. As on the right-hand side, Mikasa still being pressured by Baskin.
Good use of the Khepri ult from Jeff. He didn't do it for the revive. He did it to give Thor boosted stats so he can kill the Neith a lot faster.
That mobility really helps out as well, just to add to it, not just the stats of the damage as well.
Yeah, I was talking to JeffHindla actually about that, and he likes to utilize that Khepri ult aggressively a lot, any chance he gets, right? And a lot of times there is not that opportunity. Well, when you're ahead this much, this early in the game, I mean, that's where you want to be able to use those. So the Khepri ult doesn't work out, but it's a nice look into the different ways, the off-label use, if you will, of some of these abilities.
Bit of steady climb for Cloud9 this game. You can see that by the grass right from the beginning of this one, and the beginning of that first blood all the way through. Even BaRRa's able to rotate over now.
Yeah, and QG Reapers have actually done a great job of stopping the bleeding. They were down 5K, and they've stayed that way for the last 5 minutes. This is what they need to do. They need to keep farming, try to get picks where they can, but otherwise, play safe.
Cloud9, such a disciplined team. For as aggressive as they've been in the enemy jungle, taking away buffs, being very, they haven't done themselves a disservice. They haven't found themselves diving towers or phoenixes or anything like that just yet, Zap.
Well, I think they could get to that point. I mean, BaRRA did slip up a little bit earlier on going aggressive there as well. The big key is Baskin is now level 18. I've been saying this for a few reasons because we've seen Mikasa rotate all the way over to support his team. But you look at it around for the solo laner, a level a minute. So by the 20-minute mark, we could see Baskin at level 20, Mikasa currently 15.
And what just andinster did is huge because Gold Fury is coming up, and what he did was Neith used her beads, and Naja used his ult. So now they won't have those important cooldowns for the Gold Fury, which just spawned.
Gold Fury is up indeed, and now you can see that it's BaRRaCCuDDa on zoning duty right now. That's not a name you'd only say for zoning duty. The other three are going to pick off Knight in the mid lane, potentially has to use the 5 shots defensively, but left-hand side, more aggression coming out as well as If is under pressure. He's looking for the snipes. BaRRA not going to be able to find the kill onto If, but they did find the one onto Knight.
Mikasa taking on Baskin, probably not a smart choice as he decides to walk away, or rather jump away, and the rest of Cloud9 has the enemy jungle to themselves.
It's one of those games that where they want to go try and defend this QG, but they just can't even get in there. And Cloud9, they're quite happy to sit there, take the kills as they come, before they even take the Gold Fury. Thanatos in the air, though.
Ooh, missed on the hit, but the one does make a statement. BaRRaCCuDDa cannot find the death, but Thanatos will. JeffHindla gets credit for that one. The 17th kill for the defending world champions. They look like they want to go to the finals. What do you think, guys?
Well, it goes to semis.
They look like they want to go to the finals. What do you think, guys?
10,000 experience and 5,000 gold lead. Just over that for the time being. 20 minutes is approaching as Baskin and Jeff just farming up the mid lane for the time being. QG Reapers in a rough situation.
You know, one of the things that I find interesting about this one that we haven't even touched on, Cloud9's up 5,000 gold. They're significantly in the lead in every single category, right? But QG has quietly started to win the tower war. They've got the solo lane tower very, very, very early on, even though that's a lost lane for Bellona. And mid tower's basically down anyway.
Talking about basically down, Knight is basically down.
Yeah, Baskin gets credit for that one. Number 18 on the side of the blue and white. And this tower is going to fall. First one for Cloud9. Things are looking all good.
Yeah, they are. And they're just continuing in the jungle over and over again. We're going to see one get hit by a double tap, engaged on BaRRaCCuDDa BaRRaCCuDDa just a little bit, but with Baskin in tow and the raw connecting, he'll tick down even lower.
Again, Cloud9, instead of going back for the Gold Fury, they understood that all their buffs were coming up because both their buffs and QG's buffs are on the same timer. So what they did is they got their buffs and they rushed down, killed mid, and looked to invade the enemy speed.
Round the back comes Mikasa, though, trying to put some pressure on, but Stealth drops the Whirlpool, and easy for Cloud9 to walk away.
So I like what Thanatos does here. Thanatos is a character that this whole dirty bubble thing, right? This has been Thanatos' jam forever. You buy boots, and then you get 2 items to max your cooldown reduction. It's usually Jotuns, and then maybe a Mail of Renewal, something else, right? But because how far behind Thanatos was, he went the Mail first. I just like to see those little adaptations to your traditional builds.
Oh, QG still looking like they're trying to fight, though, the whole time. They're starting to group up now. They are behind on experience, as we can see by the grass over and over again. But they are trying to group up and force him in. But look where Andy is every single time. He's actually behind them now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just looking to put pressure as much as he can. He's Thor, that's very ahead. His double tap hammer is going to put any squishy at half
He's
HP.
looking for Thanatos.
Thanatos went in the air defensively. Thor went up to try and chase him, but instead will land on If all by himself. Beads for the cooldown. There's a wall. There's a double tap. But BaRRaCCuDDa's Barrage not available.
BaRRaCCuDDa?
Fighting through the wall.
Just about on the third attempt, does secure it. andinster saved the wall, and he's double tapped them, waiting for If to use his ult to escape beforehand.
Yeah, the play that Andy made was really smart. What he did is he beats because he expected either the sash or the ult. Because as a Naja, that's what you think your counterplay is.
Right.
He countered any kind of counterplay that the Naja had.
andinster keeping him busy on the left to get the tier 1 tower down. Oh, maybe he could fall down here. Now, will we?
Beautiful play.
Very nice from MasterLu. Nice and clean.
Love that play. Instead of using the ultimate for the, maybe he gets away immediately, just a snap, not full damage, but the crowd control is there, able to finish off with a couple of hot basics. MasterLu looks great, at least there.
Definitely in Cloud9's favor this game, obviously, but there's still things that QG is showing them that they turn around and say, listen, don't go over the top against us because we can play. MasterLu showed that a couple of times now.
The biggest thing here is that this is a best of 3 series. I mean, Zatman, you've been down and you've been out. What's it like when you're in this position in 1 where the game is still winnable for QG, but Cloud9 still definitely looking good? Are you looking to game 2, or is your mind still here?
At this point, I would probably be looking towards game 2. It's very important that you adjust your strategy to your opponent. And we've been down personally 0-2 a few times, and all it takes is that one small adjustment to really give you the edge, and you can win.
The biggest thing to really talk about with this lineup, though, this picks and bans phase of QG, is they went 4 physical. It's the first thing you said when we got on air with this as well, 4 physical. And it's going to be very difficult to bring them down. You've also given them Xing, Tian, and Khepri on the same lineup. Bit rough. I think they need to go back to the picks and bans strategy. Yesterday looked very, very strong.
Look at this Xing Tian with the Gem of Isolation. This is an item that I think is a little under-purchased. It's tough to really fit into a build. It works out very well for Xing Tian because it has a lot of HP, as well as doing something sort of slow-mo. But talk to me a little bit about the Gem of ISO and where else you could put it.
I mean, the Gem of ISO, he got it only because he's just so far ahead. You know, at this point, he should probably only have his Midgardian Mail and Breastplate, and he had enough to finish a whole nother tier 3 item.
We call that an extravagant item. It's one of those, like, oh, I can afford Soul Reaver, let's just get it. Mikasa under pressure from 3, wall down, Whirlpool down, Mikasa down.
5-on-1. 5-on-1. Cloud9 putting on an absolute clinic here. 23, almost 24 minutes in. The North American defending world champions are looking at the Fire Giant, almost up about 10 grand. Once they take down this Fire Giant, it will be 10. It's up to QG. We've got Thanatos in the air. He's going to look for the steal, but with the Kraken, the Fire Giant already dead, and he's going to go ahead and chase.
And he doesn't manage to find the jungle. It was a very good blink there from the Thanatos in the jungle. The Chinese players do love that blink.
And I love what the Neith has been doing. Neith understood that they couldn't really contest the Fire Giants, so he basically cut his losses to say, hey, let me try to get some global gold for my team, and he got at least 1 tower.
But he gets 1 tower, but now he's going to get hit down by Khepri and Xing Tian. Once this goes through, he's probably going to fall. You can even see that Nuwa was like, I'm going to have to leave you, boy, because I've got reinforcements coming still for Cloud9.
Knight hidden for just a moment. Now there's 2 players from... Well, they looked at Knight and then he disappeared. MLC Stealth gets the kill right there. BaRRaCCuDDa and Baskin giving chase onto a Thanatos. Andy from around the side.
Andy's just waiting for him to walk into tower range and just make sure they secure it. Over the wall he comes. Once they're in tower range, you should have a wall available soon. There you go, zoning him in away from getting back to the Phoenix. The team just running around the map now, Cloud9. They're looking strong today.
Strong might be an understatement. If is obliterated. No ifs, ands, or buts about that one. Now completely unrelated to this game. When do you think surrender is an option, Batman?
I don't really think they need to surrender. What they can use this time for is to talk about their next game. They have all this extra time here to talk about picks and ban strategies, what they could have done different in the early game, and what they can do different going into next game.
That's so interesting because during the picks and bans, your conversation is about that specific game. There's not much time to really reflect on the previous one.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, you know, when you have that conversation, then you can have 6 if you want.
So it's the conversation's all over and sorted with. And that conversation should be, we went for the invade, it didn't work out for us, we got picked by a rotation mid, we need better communication, guys. We can't have people rotate the map and not know about it.
Exactly. Speaking from personal experience, we've F6 a few times at LAN because, you know, we had that conversation. We understood what we did wrong, and instead of getting more and more frustrated because we're getting dominated, moved on to the next game.
So you know what? Let's do this for a second. We're QG, right? Me and you are on QG right now, and I'm just frustrated. Break down what went wrong for me right now.
Okay, we're going to talk about picks and bans first off. We're going to say, okay, we went 4 physical damage. They itemized heavily on defense. We couldn't do anything. Okay, we need to switch that up. Next, you want to talk about the early game. Okay, we went for invades on both sides. Cloud9 did both back harpies. They expected it. Okay, maybe we either need to mask our plans better, or we need to take a different route, ward better, or maybe just go for a more standard game.
Beads in a wall just to make sure he can put him in, forcing the Eagles rally. Double tap does connect, still Andy under the tower going in. Changes his mind though, but Baskin in support to keep the pressure on. MLC in mid lane, looking for the Kraken. Doesn't really connect as hard as he would like to.
Itchy trigger finger there right now, and now MLC Stealth might find himself with no tools in the middle of a problem, but here comes help from the left-hand side, support from friends of the duo lane. Baskin, meanwhile, off camera, gets a kill all by himself. Cloud9 are up 5 times the amount of kills the Chinese squad has been able to amass.
So what should be the game plan now for Cloud9? Are they just waiting patiently to think about picks and bans for the next game, or?
No, Cloud9 should probably group up here and push down left and try to end the game.
It looks very clinical from them. I'm surprised it's taken them as long as it is so far.
Well, you know what's interesting? This is the slowest part of the game we've had all game. What we've seen out of Cloud9 has just been routinely, I mean, we see the Gold Fury and then usually there's downtime. Cloud9 was in the enemy jungle, making use of that downtime. So this is the slowest part of the game, and it's about to end.
Phoenix on the left-hand side will fall down. They can't defend it. Backflip down there for MasterLu. He has to go back defensively. Staff going to drop down a Whirlpool for the extra damage, but now 5 minions starting to pour down through mid lane as well. Will they look for the right side first? It looks like that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, Cloud9, they're ahead, but one more time, they know what they're doing. They've been here before. They know what a throw looks like. And I mean, even when you're ahead as far as they are almost 20,000 gold, anything is possible. So left Phoenix, mid Phoenix. We'll take a look at the right Phoenix, and then we can walk right on in. Don't forget, each dead Phoenix makes the final objective of the Titan easier to kill.
And he picks up 1 kill there and continuing into the base, looking for a second. The double tap does not connect, unfortunately. And they're going to get that final Phoenix and wait. Oh, will they?
No, tower.
Still alive. The tower's up.
There's still a tower, ladies and gentlemen. Cloud9 forgot about it, I think.
I don't think they did.
Honestly, I do.
You reckon?
I honestly think I do. Yeah, I think they did. But it's down nonetheless. 1,500 gold goes to the side of Cloud9. And now Thanatos gets a kill on a Baskin. QG trying to play some defense, but MLC Stealth and BaRRA able to cut down the ranks of QG before they can even start thinking about it. Firebird being looked at by the Hunter. Grabbed is Neith. One more hit, and it's good.
QG towards the end here had a pretty good defense of that final Phoenix. The issue was they were just too far behind to even stand a chance against Cloud9. Cloud9 are going to take game 1. And honestly, it was a nice warm-up for them.
Yeah, I mean, that one looked absolutely incredible. Cloud9 put on a fantastic clinic, and they don't look stressed or strained at all.
Yeah, no, pretty much Cloud9 played a perfect game from the pregame. They understood what kind of picks and bans they were up against. They knew they were going to get invaded on. They played around the invade, and then they took it from there.
Yeah, I mean, there just was no shaky knees at all. They knew exactly what they had to do. Last thought before we move on.
I would have rather been Paradigm today so far than be Cloud9. Reason being is because Paradigm had some challenges early on. Cloud9, they've been able to come in and get themselves adjusted, but it wasn't much of a challenge from the outset.
Well, you know what? Paradigm, they had a challenge. They had a challenge in game number 1, and then kind of walked through in game number 2. Maybe it'll be a little bit different. We'll see if the Chinese squad can adapt and make a big stand in game number 2. Analysts, what do you think? Do you think we'll see a game 2 that'll be exciting? Let us know.
All right, so Cloud9 doing the Cloud9 things. You know, I think there were some moments there where QG fought back. Of course, Too Little Too Late was the name of that song. And I think, you know, for the most part, I would say that QG knew going into this was going to be like really hard. You know, you're talking about the 2015 Smite World Champions here. You know, one of the wonder stories of Smite, and crowd favorites, crowds on their side, confidence abound. They got to see what QG was capable of, you know, in day 1. Honestly, for me, it's really hard to say that Cloud9 were at a disadvantage here.
No, that was a very one-sided match, almost to the point of disrespect, where we saw Cloud9 trying to steal kills from each other, crackening players at 1 health. Khepri ulting people at full health. It just like, you know, when they could chase them down regardless. But it was just straight destruction. And QG heading into game 2, They need to feed BaRRaCCuDDa some fast food so he gets food poisoning like he did in the summer finals, and kidnap Hero-Win, their substitute, and hide him so then they have 4 players and don't have enough.
But what if the CUDDA runs a Jordan here, decides to play with the food sickness?
He did that in the summer finals. Yeah, he was sick for 2 games. His team got destroyed by Paradigm, and then he ran from his hotel room and came on. They still lost, but hey, he played well sick.
That's not the Jordan story, but I mean, it's okay.
He would have won,
We get it. You're a PC kid. So just messing around. So anyway, QE, let's talk to you. How did you feel Cloud9 did in this one? Of course, I think as the tone was, the result was fairly expected. As we take a look here at the player damage, thoughts in regards to Cloud9 and also BaRRaCCuDDa playing that Chiron, because I know how much you love Chiron.
They were so dominant. They were all over the place. They actually ended lane phase earlier than expected, and then came back to the lane phase. It was they just wanted kills, basically. They were going for kills every time.
They were farming kills pretty hard.
Cloud9 was really confident going in. They knew they had a disadvantage in the solo jungle. They did their back harpies. They allowed them to kind of put pressure on the blue buff. MLC Stealth rotated in, and then they were able to pick up an easy first blood on the Thanatos. And then ever since that point in time, they were just able to snowball from there, honestly.
Yeah, the Thanatos struggled a lot in this game. I think the casters had mentioned that, you want him to get the ball rolling early, and it just was not happening no matter what they did. So that was pretty tough pill to swallow there for QG. Alternatively, though, I mean, you had andinster just crushing it with Thor. Some brilliant plays from him. Honestly, and also you got to talk about this Chiron here. There was some great plays from Chiron as well.
Phenomenal plays. I mean, BaRRaCCuDDa is so good on this god, and QE's was talking about it all at the start of the first day. Like, where's Chiron? Why aren't we seeing him? And now that we're getting a little bit later into the tournament, we're starting to see these teams and players picking up and see how potent he can be. Especially his sustain in lane by himself is phenomenal.
Here's his snipes.
This snipe was phenomenal. Just watching it from andinster's point of view too, when we saw it in
actually
game,
pretty cool.
Like seeing the shot and seeing him adjust it. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, that was. He's like, BaRRaCCuDDa's like, yeah, I know. That was baller. That was pretty baller.
BaRRaCCuDDa is definitely like a playmaking guy. So he was hovering over AMC. You can make a lot of plays with AMC, but you can also make a lot of plays with Chiron. And we saw that, especially with a safeguard paired up as Khepri. So that he's going to be playing very hyper aggressive, knowing he has JeffHindla backing him up.
Yeah. I love